if you have lots of these, then you need one of these. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. In my hand, I have a brand new Epson scanner that I've just taken out of the box here because I have a ton of these things. They're called photographs, and they came in different shapes and sizes, and there's even a thing called a Polaroid, which you probably don't know about, but a lot of these things will have your favorite memories, maybe time with family, and over time, some of these things can start to look a little ragged, right? Like you can see here, the color is starting to go on some of these, right? So you want to preserve these things because as they deteriorate, you're going to lose them. And you never know when you might have a disaster, someone steals them, you have a little fire, flooding, and they get lost. And photographs are one of those things that nobody ever wants to lose because that's what they get sad. When people's houses burn down or the flood hits them, the photographs are often the thing that people miss most. So I picked this up because I thought I could clear out a lot of space, get rid of a lot of photographs, and then also store them digitally so that I have them forever. So this little scanner here is small, but it is not light. This thing is actually pretty heavy. But why I got this is because most scanners will scan anything, so you can put a photograph in them. But this scanner in particular is really made for photos and has a document feeder so that I can put in photos in a little stack of different sizes, and it will feed them through and scan them. And that's really what I wanted to do because I am looking for speed on this. Now, I will tell you that I also looked online at photo scanning services, and they're like 15 or 20 cents a photo. And so if you have hundreds of photos, yeah, a scanner like this is not cheap. This was about $450, which I think is actually kind of crazy for a scanner. But because it has the document feeder right up here, you can see how that folds out. It's actually pretty clever. It folds up like this. Then we have these little guides on the side so you can make sure that whatever photo you have is centered and upright, right? So put that in there. You'll want to make sure that if you're putting a stack of photos in, they're generally the same size so you don't have some flopping around in there. And then they will come out the front right here, and you have this little tray that extends out so it will capture them. This little thing flips up so they don't fall on the floor. And then on the back here, we have one of those printer USB ports right there, and then the power port right there. And then on the front here, we have the little controls, power, Wi-Fi, and I don't know what those are. Hopefully this thing is pretty straightforward. Now, I also want to show you that it does come with instructions, and it comes with the power cable and the USB cable right there. I also kind of suspect that there is going to be some sort of Epson software that works with this, so I'll probably download that off of the website. So, let's get this thing set up and scan some photos and see if we can save some memories. Alright, so I have the scanner set up. There's really not much to do. Just open up this and the top part here, and then you pull out the bottom part here. This tray comes out just like this. You can flip this up like this so that prevents the photos from sliding out. I actually have it hooked up via the USB cable, although you can hook it up wirelessly. I just thought with as much data as it's transmitting, I thought hooking it up via a wire would be the best way to go. Now, what it says here is that photos should go in here face up, top edge first, all right? So what you will generally have here is a stack of photos, and what you want is to scan photos that are the same size. These are 3x5s, I think, so I'm just going to put them in there, and I'm going to square them. So face up, top edge first. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to hit start scanning in the FastFoto software. And I have already set my defaults. I'm going to show you some of the settings so that you can set this up to meet your particular needs. But now that it's scanning, you can see it's pulling the photos actually from the back first and then just spitting them out the front there. So it's going pretty quickly. You do want to make sure that you pull out photos if they get stuck there, especially if they're curling or something like that. All right, so we went through, I don't know, 10 photos or so, and that was pretty quick. A lot easier than using a flatbed scanner and lifting up the top and putting them down and scanning one after another, all right? And now what I want to show you here is it says 11 photos scanned. Do I have more to scan? Now this is important because if I say yes, scan the next batch, I put those in. You don't want to overload that scanner, so you want to put in maybe no more than 15 or 20 at a time. Then it will just keep queuing them all up. It won't commit any of them into your folder on your computer until it's done scanning. So I've done a bunch of these and queued them up, and then it populates them into the folder. But if you want to stop here, you can just hit done scanning, and it's going to start processing those and applying any of the filters that you may have selected, and then put those in your folders. So now that I've talked about that, let's take a look at the settings and some of the filters that are available. Right, so I've got the Epson set up here, and I downloaded the FastFoto software. I've gone ahead and installed it. I've been playing around with it. A few things that I want to show you right off the bat. So it's showing you the pictures here that I've already scanned, but a lot of these settings you'll want to set up before you even use it, but I want to show you a couple things that I think are cool and that I think you should use. So you can set up your default drive where they will scan to. You can put a prefix in here, maybe scanned photo or something like that. I'm not using any prefix because I don't really care. Now, one thing that I want to show you here is this checkbox. Prompt me to describe each batch of photos before scanning. This is pretty cool because then it will organize them by file name, folder name, and tags. So let's say you have a bunch of photos and you've got Boy Scout camp out, and then you've got family reunion and birthday and trip to Minneapolis and trip to Colorado and all these other things, right? So this is cool because before you put in that stack of 20, 30, 5 photos, whatever, you can turn this on and it will prompt you for this event. This is great when you have your photos organized in those envelopes and there are some notes about what they are, because if you're scanning a bunch of these things and you're just dumping them all in one folder under the same name, you're going to have to go back and do that by memory, which may be impossible. So that's something that's pretty cool. It's actually well thought out. Let's go here to enhancements. Now you can see here, photos start looking a little old. It's funny because old photos look like the filters that people put on new photos on Instagram. So I don't know why we take new photos and make them look old, but whatever. So I have automatically applied the auto enhance, the remove red eye, restored faded colors, and what it will do is you can either do it to the scanned photo or, as I've selected here, to a second copy of the photo recommended. So it'll scan the photo as it is, and then it will apply those effects and create a second file, which is great because if you're a little unsure of maybe how good that correction will be, or worried about losing the original photo in the quality that it is, then great, you'll have both of those, so don't have to worry about that. Here in scan settings, what it defaults to is 300 DPI, which is good for kind of most things. However, if you want to have really good images later on to blow up or to print out or to zoom in on, I would definitely go 600 DPI. That's what I'm doing, archival scanning. 1200 DPI, I don't know that you need that. I mean, some of these photos can obviously have that much grain in them, so if you're scanning 1200 DPI, you could certainly get all 1200 DPI. I think that's probably a little excessive for my needs, and many of these photos aren't really that sharp to begin with anyway. You can select your file format here, and then you can also scan the back of the photos with Epson single-step technology. I've actually turned this on, and instead of having it on dark, I put it here on medium. I thought maybe somewhere in the middle. Some of my photos I noticed have some writing on the back, usually in pencil or very light pen. Even when they were in pen, they're kind of faded right now. But if you wrote, birthday 81 or anniversary 95 or whatever it is, something on the back, what it is trying to do is see if there's any writing on the back, and it will scan the back with it too. I would absolutely do this. You can certainly delete a bunch of the images if they look like they're blank, but man, how nice would it be if someone wrote exactly what's going on and the people in it and all that on the back, and you have that for later. And then you can go ahead and do some of these other settings here. I've turned on pretty much everything. Auto rotation, curled photo correction, reduce lines and streaks. I will tell you what, auto rotation I think is to try to detect what side is up and then orient it that way. This has been pretty hit or miss. There have been plenty of photos in my scanning that have been upside down. And then you can do the upload, say, to your cloud folder here, and then the scanner settings, so you can change those. But I think those are the key settings to adjust in this FastFoto software before you get scanning. So once you do get scanning, it's pretty easy. Let me show you that. On ahead and scan some photos here based on the settings that I showed you. Scan the back when it sees text. Do some color correction, correct the old pictures here. I want to show you what it's doing. So it is always saving 2 copies of every photo. You can see here that the orientation doesn't always get correct here, where my hamster is still upside down. But I do want to show you these 2 pictures here. They're just the random ones I picked up. So I want to pull in here the original one, and you can see that there I am, a little bucktooth, getting my Transformers on Omega Supreme. Autobots, roll out! And that was a pretty awesome gift, by the way. But you can see here, it's just a little bit red. It's got a little bit of that purplish tinge, which is common with aged photos. And now if I pull in the corrected one here, you can see it just looks brighter, so much more natural and modern and recent. So between these two, I definitely like what it's doing. You know, it is definitely doing some pretty appropriate color correction there. There's my sister looking at the Transformers, thinking she might get excited about getting her own Transformers, and then never got into them. But I really dig that. That is really awesome, and it saves you time from having to go through and getting other software and running these through some sort of like post-scan operation to kind of correct them. So it may not be perfect, but it's certainly better, I think, than the old ones. And as photos get older, they just continue to degrade. So I love the fact that it does that automatically. Now, I just thought I'd scroll through here, and I want to show you here that it looks like on the back of this photo, and again, there's me and my college buddy Kevin standing next to my college car. You can see I was into cars way early. You know, there's my BMW Z3. But what is interesting is that there must have been some printing on the back here, and so, you know, again, nothing important, Seattle Filmworks and just kind of whatever they print on the back there. But had that been a handwritten note or something of that nature, that would have been nice. But you can see here, the software isn't super smart. It's going to see if there's something printed on the back. Again, these look like they are all printed from the film company or photo developer itself. So I don't really see a lot that look like the backs are useful, you know, some notes or something that say when it was or something special or the names of people in there, you know, because something like this is really just the watermark or the ink mark that they put on the back of the photo paper. But if it was there, I'm super excited that it would capture it. So I think some of these would have that. But like I said, you can just go through here and just, you know, throw away some of these that you don't need because they are not really helpful. So yes, you might have to clean up, but I like the idea that you have the actual scans of the back if you need them or if it detected anything, rather than not having it, knowing that someone took the time to write a note on the back. But either way, this Epson FastFoto scanner is awesome. So I have hundreds of photos here, nay thousands. What does it say here? 1,530. I've just been scanning photos from old photo albums, from boxes. I have shoe boxes and shoe boxes of photos that people gave me from family events and relatives. I have a buddy from Boy Scouts who took photos from all years in Boy Scouts, and he just gifted those to me and said, hey, you know, maybe you can digitize these or something, take a look at it. So it's pretty awesome that people are saving these, but I am so glad that this is a fast way to do it, because I actually looked at some services that want anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20 cents a photo to scan it, and when I was kind of estimating how many photos I had, didn't seem really economical. So even buying something like this, even though it's, you know, $400+, I think can save you a lot of time and money. So if you want to pick up the Epson FastFoto, I think it is actually a great little device for saving all of those cherished, important memories so that you have them digitally forever. So if you want to pick it up, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.
We can discover more and explore so much deeper. We can live better than ever, thanks to Peter Von Panda.